In the heart of Norse mythology stands a vast and sacred ash tree, known as Yggdrasil. This cosmic tree is not just a symbol, but the very foundation of the universe itself. Its branches stretch far into the heavens, while its roots reach deep into mysterious realms. Around it, the nine worlds are bound together, making Yggdrasil the axis of all existence. For the Norse, this tree was more than a myth. It represented the interconnectedness of life, death, and the divine forces that shaped their worldview. The meaning of the name Yggdrasil itself offers insight. Yggdra is one of the many names for Odin, the chief god, often interpreted as the terrible or the fearsome. Drasil means horse. Together, the name can be understood as Odin's horse. This may sound strange at first, but in Old Norse poetry, horse was sometimes used metaphorically to describe a gallows or a vehicle of transport. Thus, Yggdrasil is connected to Odin's great sacrifice, where he hung himself on the tree to gain wisdom of the runes. Though grim in imagery, this story highlights the tree's role as a source of knowledge and transformation. The structure of Yggdrasil can be imagined as spanning three levels: the heavens, the earth, and the underworld. Its trunk rises like a pillar in the center of creation. The upper branches arch into the skies, connecting to divine realms. The middle portion is where humans and other beings dwell. Its roots stretch into deep wells and strange lands, where giants, serpents, and hidden powers dwell. Through this vast network, the gods could travel between worlds, and fate itself was spun and guarded. At the very base of Yggdrasil lie three powerful roots, each leading to an important and sacred source. One root reaches into the land of the gods, Asgard, where the Aesir hold their councils. Beneath this root lies the Well of Erd, where the Norns, the mysterious weavers of destiny, carve the fate of gods and mortals alike. These three sisters, Erd, Verdandi, and Skuld, represent past, present, and future. They water the tree each day with the sacred waters from their well, keeping Yggdrasil alive and strong. Another route reaches toward Jotunheim, the land of the giants. Beneath it flows Mimir's well, a place of immense wisdom and knowledge. Mimir, the wise being who tends this well, was said to possess unmatched understanding of the cosmos. Odin himself sought knowledge there, offering one of his eyes in exchange for a drink from its waters. The well became a symbol of ultimate sacrifice for the sake of enlightenment. The third route stretches into the underworld, known as Niflheim. There lies the spring called Hvergelmir, from which countless rivers flow. This is a place of primal power, cold mists, and ancient forces. Guarding this realm is the great serpent Nidhogg, who gnaws endlessly at the root of the tree. Though destructive, Nidhogg is part of the balance that keeps the cycle of life and death moving. Yggdrasil is not merely a passive structure. It is alive, vulnerable, and ever-changing. Many creatures dwell upon and within it. At its top, perched among the highest branches, sits an eagle whose sharp eyes watch over all worlds. Between the eagle's eyes rests a hawk called Vedafölnir, symbolizing swiftness and perspective. Along the trunk of the tree scurries the mischievous squirrel Ratatoska, who runs tirelessly between the eagle above and Nidhogg below, carrying insults and stirring strife. This playful yet troublesome creature embodies the idea that conflict and gossip are forces that connect even the highest and lowest. The tree is constantly under threat. Deer nibble on its branches, serpents coil around its roots, and forces of decay and time gnaw at its stability. Yet despite this constant danger, Yggdrasil endures. This resilience represents the Norse understanding of the universe, not as perfect or eternal, but as something that must survive, struggle, and hardship. Just as warriors proved their worth through battles, so too does the world tree prove its strength by withstanding challenges from every side. In this vision of the cosmos, Yggdrasil is both fragile and eternal. It embodies the paradox of existence, that life thrives in the face of destruction and order emerges from chaos. To the Norse, it was a reminder that even the gods themselves were bound by fate, rooted in a world where everything is connected. Yggdrasil's vast branches and roots are not just symbolic, they are the pathways that connect the 9 realms of Norse cosmology. These realms are not imagined as planets or distant places, but as intertwined dimensions of existence. They are held together by the World Tree, and through them the gods, giants, humans, and countless beings live out their destinies. To understand Yggdrasil is to understand these 9 realms, each with its own character and role in the Norse vision of the cosmos. At the very top of this structure is Asgard, the realm of the Aesir gods. This is where Odin, Thor, Frigg, and others dwell in their grand halls. It is a place of order, power, and divine counsel. The Great Hall of Valhalla also resides here, where the bravest warriors chosen by the Valkyries feast and prepare for the final battle of Ragnarok. Asgard represents authority and the divine will that oversees the universe. Connected to Asgard by the flaming rainbow bridge Bifrost lies Midgard, the world of humans. This is the realm most familiar to us, a place of mortal struggles, families, farming, seafaring, and survival. Midgard is encircled by a vast ocean, within which coils the giant serpent Jormungandr, so large that it encircles the world entirely. Midgard and Asgard are linked not only by the bridge but by destiny, as the gods frequently interfere in the affairs of humankind. Another realm closely tied to humanity is Vanaheim, the home of the Vanir gods. The Vanir were associated with fertility, prosperity, and wisdom of the natural world. Unlike the warlike Aesir, the Vanir were connected to the cycles of earth and sea. After a great war between the Aesir and Vanir, the 2 tribes of gods united, exchanging hostages to bring peace. This merging symbolized the balance between power and prosperity, between sky and soil. Far different in tone is Jotunheim, the land of the giants, or Jotnar. Giants in Norse mythology were not always monstrous. They were ancient beings tied to primal chaos and natural forces. Some were wise, some were beautiful, and others were fierce enemies of the gods. Jotunheim was a wild, untamed land of mountains, forests, and storms. It stood in opposition to the ordered world of Asgard, yet it was essential, for creation itself began from the mingling of fire and ice, chaos and form. In the darkness of the underworld lies Niflheim, one of the oldest realms, shrouded in mist and ice. It is a place of freezing rivers, eternal frost, and chilling silence. This realm is often linked to death, for here lies Hel, ruled by the goddess of the same name. Hel's domain is not a place of torment, but of quiet, where those who did not die in battle reside after life's end. Niflheim embodies inevitability and the cold passage of time. Opposite to Niflheim is Muspelheim, a realm of fire, heat, and destruction. Its blazing flames are guarded by the fire giant Surtur, who wields a flaming sword. Muspelheim represents both creation and annihilation, for in the beginning it was the meeting of Muspelheim's fire and Niflheim's ice that gave birth to the first giant Ymir and set the stage for the cosmos. Yet, it is also prophesied that Surtur's flames will one day consume the world at Ragnarok. Among these realms lies Alfheim, the land of the light elves. The elves were considered radiant, beautiful beings associated with inspiration, poetry, and the mysteries of nature. They were sometimes seen as protectors, other times as elusive spirits. Alfheim was ruled by the Vanir god Freyr, linking this shining world with fertility and abundance. Another bright yet distinct realm is Svartalfheim, also known as Nidavellir, the world of the dwarves. These skilled smiths live beneath the earth, crafting weapons, treasures, and artifacts of immense power. From their forges came Thor's hammer, Mjolnir, Odin's spear, Gungnir, and Freya's ship, Skidbladnir. The dwarves were not gods, but their craftsmanship shaped the destiny of gods and men alike. Finally, there is Helheim, which some traditions consider part of Niflheim, but is often described as its own realm. Helheim is the place of the dead who did not perish in battle. It is ruled by Hel, daughter of Loki, whose half-living, half-dead appearance reflects the boundary she governs. Unlike the fiery punishments of later traditions, Helheim was a place of stillness and inevitability, where souls rested in the care of their queen. Together, these 9 realms weave a map of existence. Each represents a part of the Norse understanding of life: the divine, the mortal, the wild, the icy, the fiery, the radiant, the hidden, and the inevitable. Yggdrasil's branches and roots connect them all, ensuring that no world stands alone. The balance between them, conflict, cooperation, and destiny, is what keeps the cosmos alive. The World Tree was more than a backdrop for the Norse imagination, it was the stage upon which the greatest dramas of fate unfolded. At its roots and branches, the cycles of life and death, creation and destruction were constantly in motion. Yggdrasil was not eternal in the sense of being untouched, but eternal because it survived through constant struggle. This balance between growth and decay was at the very heart of Norse belief. The Norns, who lived by the well of Erd beneath Yggdrasil, played a vital role in this cycle. Every day, they carved runes into the trunk of the tree, shaping destiny itself. They drew water from their sacred well to nourish the roots, and in this way, they sustained the entire cosmos. Nothing escaped their weaving, not gods, not humans, not even Yggdrasil itself. Fate, in the Norse mind, was unavoidable, and even Odin, the All-Father, bowed to its power. The World Tree was the canvas upon which fate was written. Yet fate was not merely grim inevitability. Yggdrasil also represented renewal. Despite the eagle, the dragon, the deer, and the endless forces that sought to weaken it, the tree endured. It bent, but did not break, reminding the Norse that resilience was as sacred as strength. Just as winter always returned, so did spring, and the cycles of death and rebirth were essential to the survival of the world. The creatures of Yggdrasil carried symbolic weight as well. Nidhogg, gnawing at the roots, was not simply a destroyer. He represented the corrosive forces of envy, time, and decay realities that every person faced. The eagle above symbolized wisdom and vigilance, while Ratatoska the squirrel, constantly running with insults, embodied the human tendency to stir conflict and discord. These beings were not villains or heroes, but reflections of forces that made the universe dynamic rather than static. For the Norse, the World Tree also held within it the end of all things. During Ragnarok, the great final battle, Yggdrasil would tremble and the 9 realms would be torn apart. The sky would crack, the sea would rise, and fire would engulf the world. Yet from this destruction, renewal would come. Some traditions speak of a hidden grove within Yggdrasil, where 2 humans would survive, sheltered among its branches, to repopulate the world. Even in the face of annihilation, Yggdrasil promised hope. This idea of survival through destruction reflects a profound truth of Norse thought, that nothing lasts forever, but from endings come beginnings. The gods themselves were not immortal in the way of untouchable deities. They too faced destiny, loss, and rebirth. The World Tree was their reminder that all are bound within the same cycle. Beyond mythology, Yggdrasil can be seen as a mirror of human understanding. It represented the interconnection of all things, the divine, the mortal, the natural, and the unseen. Life was not divided into separate parts, but woven together by invisible roots and branches. To harm one realm was to affect the others. This vision created a sense of responsibility. Gods and mortals alike had to respect the balance if they wished to endure. Yggdrasil also shows us how the Norse viewed knowledge. Odin's sacrifice upon the tree to gain the wisdom of the runes is a story not of conquest but of surrender. Hanging upon Yggdrasil, pierced by his own spear, Odin sought not power for its own sake but understanding. This act revealed that wisdom required sacrifice, patience, and humility. The World Tree was thus the greatest teacher, offering insight through suffering. In the end, Yggdrasil was not just a mythic ash tree, but a symbol of the Norse spirit. It told them that the universe was vast and interconnected, that fate was both merciless and meaningful, and that even in destruction there was the promise of renewal. For a people who lived amid harsh winters, stormy seas, and constant uncertainty, this vision gave strength. When we look at Yggdrasil today, we can see more than an old legend. We can see a reminder of resilience, of the bonds that tie all beings together, and of the eternal cycle of life, death, and rebirth. The World Tree still stands in the imagination, its branches reaching outward, its roots sinking deep, carrying with it the wisdom of the Norse world.